Jimmy Kibble, a two-time All-Big East punter, will do the kicking. You're right, Virginia Tech special teams, a trademark of Frank Beamer. Gennaro Sharps is deep for the Temple Owls. 61 degrees, just about darn near perfect for November in Philadelphia. Virginia Tech, number 2 in the country. Sharps out of the end zone. And the Temple Owls will get the first possession. They won the toss and wanted the football. This man, Devin Scott, is just a sophomore. And Gino, he's made the transition from an option quarterback to a spread passing quarterback, and he's done it quite well.
He's done it quite well, and he gets better with every game. Like we said in the open, 12 touchdowns in the last 14 quarters of play. He has to have a big game for the Owls today.
Scott works from the shotgun. This offense is very similar to Kentucky's offense and Hal Mumme, and there's a good reason why. Mumme and Bobby Wallace are very good friends. And the first play is a handoff. Carl Bradley makes the stop on the first carry of the day. Marcus Godfrey, the tailback. He has to have a big game for Temple. He's averaging just 31 yards per game. Their running game for Temple is not real good. The 3-receiver set, and Carlos Johnson is a guy that will go deep, and he'll get there. 40 catches, 4 touchdowns in just 6 games. Tim Leach, a good offensive lineman, but he'll be tested by Corey Moore most of the day. On second down, a quick screen that's incomplete, almost a lateral. It was intended for Carlos Johnson. Virginia Tech's defense is best in the Big East, 3rd in the nation. John Engelberger doesn't get the headlines. Corey Moore does. But Engelberger has 7 sacks and 5 career block kicks. Jamel Smith is the leading tackler on this defense. 5 of the front, actually 6 of the front 7 are seniors up front. And Anthony Midget and Ike Charlton combined to force 6 turnovers last week against Miami. Midget had 3 picks. Charlton picked up 3 fumbles. And Temple on third down. Scott throwing deep, looking for Jamal Wallace, who's got the ball. Wallace is down to the 15-yard line. 62 yards.
Rich, this is exactly what Temple needs to do early. They need to come up with some big plays. Devin Scott just gets a little pressure, able to get out of the pocket, find his receiver downfield late. It's a heck of a play. A good way to start for the Owls.
Temple not using a huddle, so the Owls hurrying things up. They've got it at the Virginia Tech 15-yard line. Inside handoff to Marcus Godfrey. And Godfrey is inside the 15, down to the 14-yard line. Carl Bradley made the stop.
Here you see Scott just gets a little pressure from over here on the right-hand side, but he's able to break contain, finds Jamal Wallace, who just creeps behind all the defenders, and they kind of fall asleep. The Virginia Tech defense able to pick up a big play. And there Ike Charlton just saving the touchdown there with the tackle at the end of the play.
A lot of big plays late in the second quarter is how Temple stole the momentum from Virginia Tech last year. Scott swings it out. It's caught at the 10-yard line for a gain of about 4. Carlos Johnson the catch. Jamel Smith made the stop.
What Temple has to do offensively, they can't turn the ball over. They cannot. They have to play a near-perfect game to beat Virginia Tech, and also they have to protect Devin Scott, and they're going to look to do that. A lot of screens, a lot of draws, and a lot of 3-step passing.
And it looks like a lot of improvising right now by Scott at the line of scrimmage. On 3rd and 5. A quick throw. Caught by Godfrey. Godfrey down to the 5, very close to the first down. Vick Sorensen made the stop for Virginia Tech.
Rich, what I like early is the Temple Owls are not giving Virginia Tech any opportunity to get close to their quarterback and hit them. They're throwing the ball quick, a lot of these screens, a lot of these draws. They have a heck of a game plan here in this first drive.
Bobby Wallace really felt confident as you can feel as a 4-touchdown underdog coming into a ball game with a team that is 2 games away from a national championship game. Scott scrambling. Scott, he'll keep it. He is out of bounds. Devin Scott at the 2-yard line. Ben Taylor got a hand on him. And it'll bring up second down. The Temple Owls are 2-7, but Gino, in their last 4 football games, they've played very well.
They've played very well, and the big reason is Devin Scott. I think both he and Michael Vick on the other side of the football, they have that escapability where they can get outside, break contain, and still pick up a few yards on the scrambles.
Second and goal. Godfrey still on his feet, and he is in for the touchdown. How about that? Marcus Godfrey, the senior from Philadelphia, and Temple goes 80 yards. A 6-0 lead.
Rich, that was great second effort by Marcus Godfrey. It almost looked like the Virginia Tech defense was kind of standing around watching for everybody else to make a play, and Godfrey just kept his leg drive going and ends up fighting to get in the end zone.
Temple lined up in a little swinging gate look before the extra point attempt. Cap Poklemba is the field goal kicker, and he'll attempt the point and hit it. The Temple Owls pulled off the upset maybe of the century last year. And right now, they're on the board first. Marcus Godfrey into the end zone. A summer-like day in Philadelphia. 61 degrees at kickoff. Frank Beamer and the Hokies have yet to touch the football. They just watched Temple go 80 yards on 8 plays. A short kickoff. And this is Jarrett Ferguson. Jarrett Ferguson out across the 45-yard line. Great field position for Virginia Tech.
Just take a look here. Marcus Godfrey taking the handoff, makes one guy miss, just keeps his leg drive, able to pull 3 guys into the end zone. That's great second effort to score that touchdown.
Michael Vick at the controls. The redshirt freshman has had an outstanding season. The top-rated passer in the Big East. And the Hokies are going to get the football at the 45-yard line. Temple was offsides on the kickoff. Virginia Tech declines.
Rich, that's not a good way to start. They can't afford these mistakes on special teams and give Virginia Tech a short field today.
Shotgun for Vick. Blitz coming. Steps up. And they'll get him at the 46-yard line. It's actually a gain of a couple. Raheem Brock made the stop. The Virginia Tech offense is the best in the Big East. 434 yards per game. And Chiron Stith does it on the ground. 105 a game for the junior running back. Andre Davis is the guy they want to stretch the field. 26 catches, 5 touchdowns, 26 yards per catch. The leader up front is Keith Short. It's a good offensive line, and Short is the only senior. On second down, Vick again flushed out. He'll tuck it to the sidelines. Vick is loose. He's 30. Michael Vick, his 10. He will score. Touchdown, Virginia Tech. 53 yards.
Rich, that's exactly what Temple defense couldn't do. They have to contain Michael Vick, keep him in the pocket, don't let him break contain and get in the secondary running with the football. He just breaks contain. He has 4.3 speed. He, along with Corey Moore, that's wide receiver speed. And as soon as he breaks in the clear, he's a heck of a runner with the football.
The extra point is good. Michael Vick has lived up to the hype this year. And he answers the Temple score. 53 yards. The Virginia Tech Hokies, #2 in the country, need a win and a big win. Right now, they're tied with Temple, 7-all. 7, #2 Virginia Tech answering in a heartbeat. Temple scored on their first drive. They went 80 yards, and then Michael Vick rambled 53, and the Hokie fans breathing a little bit better now. Frank Beamer in his 13th year at Virginia Tech, and what a run he's had. Bowl games their last 6 seasons. Jimmy Kibble puts it very, very deep. When you let Michael Vick get outside, it's real dangerous.
Rich, it was a heck of a run by Michael Vick, but Virginia Tech may have got away with the holding penalty. Here you see Matt Lair on the inside. You'll see a loop, and just he takes down the offensive lineman. That to me looks like a little bit of a hold. Gives Vick the opportunity to break contain.
It looked like a lot of a hold.
It was a takedown, 3-point takedown.
The Owls now their own 20. It's a very young Temple team. Lots of sophomores and freshmen in the skill positions. Inside handoff to Godfrey. And Godfrey with a 9-yard pickup. He's down to the 29-yard line. Michael Hawks made the stop. Just your average 2-play drive.
Rich, the Temple Owls have to make Virginia Tech earn every yard. They can't allow those big plays, whether through the air or Michael Vick running the football, to have a chance in this football game.
Scott taking his time. Swings it out. Tenardo Sharps short of the first down. Corey Bird made the stop.
Rich, I like the fact that they're throwing a lot of short passes. They've had a little bit of success with the few draws they've run inside. But what they have to do, there has to come a time where they're going to start pushing the football down the field.
So far, they've kept Corey Moore out of the backfield and off of Devin Scott's back. Scott, 2 third-down completions on the last drive, but on 3rd and 1, he's running out of time. It'll be 5 yards regardless. And I think you can credit some of that to Corey Moore.
Well, what Virginia Tech defense did, before the snap of the ball, they lined up in just a normal 4-3 and then shifted down into the old Bear defense, the 46. Devin Scott trying to audible, didn't have enough time to get his team in a good position and a good play.
That would be the old Chicago Bear defense.
The old Buddy Ryan made it famous.
He used it in this stadium a few times as well. It really changes the situation. It's 3rd down and 6 down. And here comes the blitz. They're bringing everyone. And Scott throws it away. And that's grounding. Ben Taylor on the blitz. There was no one, absolutely no one in the vicinity of Devin Scott's pass.
In college football, different in that respect. In the pros, you break contain. You just have to throw it at the line of scrimmage. In college football, still has to be at a player.
No grounding. The penalty is loss of down, spot of the foul, 4th down.
Loss of down is not the big deal. Spot of the foul is huge.
Spot of the foul. Now it's going to bring the Virginia Tech special teams back into play, and they have a shot when you have that short field of blocking this punt.
Garvin Ringwelski is a true freshman punter. Virginia Tech is coming. And he gets it off. Ricky Hall watches it bounce. And it's excellent field position for Virginia Tech on the Temple 39-yard line. Tomorrow night, 8:15 Eastern, ESPN Sunday Night Football. Ricky Williams and the Saints into Jacksonville to take on Mark Brunell and the Jaguars. It begins with NFL primetime. Then on ABC's Monday Night Football, Tim Brown and the Raiders and the Broncos in an AFC West showdown. ESPN and ABC, your exclusive home for primetime NFL football. The Hokies right back to work. Stiff. Chiron Stiff inside the 30. A gain of 9. Sean Lacey made the stop.
Rich, you always need a little help for your friends. Check out Jarrett Ferguson, the fullback, who opens the hole. Look at the nice block there. Gets a stalemate on Taylor Suman, the outside linebacker. Gives Stiff all kinds of room to run.
2nd and 1. Vick is going to throw it towards the end zone. Almost picked off. Should have been picked off. Leon Washington had it right in his hands. Emmett Johnson was the intended receiver.
Vick just trying to throw a simple post corner route. Washington in great position. Should have came up with this interception. And these are the opportunities that the Temple Owls can't afford not to take advantage of. Hit him right in the hands.
So now it's 3rd down and 1. Stiff. Hit and dropped, but he's close to the 1st down. Good penetration by Raheem Brock and LeVar Talley.
Rich, going back to that 2nd down and 1, the one thing I do like about the play call, and Ricky Bussell, the offensive coordinator for Virginia Tech, taking a chance, throwing deep on 2nd 1, feeling, hey, we're going to pick up the short yardage, the 3rd and 1 situation if it's not complete.
They'll stretch it. And the Hokies are short. So it is 4th down. And Virginia Tech is going to go for it. Up in the coach's box for Virginia Tech, Ricky Bussell, the offensive coordinator. Thank you. The Hokies have done a lot of things right this year, and on 4th down, they are 8 of 10. That's amazing. Vick straight ahead. He's got it as he falls forward to the 28-yard line. Nice call by Coach Bussell. Temple's defense is not bad. Their strength up front, Dan Klecko, and yes, that's Joe's son. He's a good one, a true freshman, and Pepe Pichette, the senior tackle. Taylor Suman is their leading tackler, 118 per game, or 118 on the season. He's just a sophomore. Now, Sean Martin is listed as a safety, but he'll play as an outside linebacker. Gino, this is really a 4-4 look.
They want to pressure. They're going to come up in an 8-man front and try to contain Vick and make him throw the football. The bad thing is he's throwing to Andre Davis and Ricky Hall.
Option. Vick down to the 23-yard line. LeVar Talley made the stop. 5-yard pickup for the redshirt freshman out of Newport News, Virginia.
And Coach Beamer told us yesterday he shows excellent poise. Only a redshirt freshman. He's only 19 years old. Look at that. Last 6 games, 7 touchdowns and no interceptions. That's been key for the Virginia Tech Hokies.
Stiff breaks through the blitz, and he's inside the 20. right on the sticks, close to another first down. Raheem Brock made the stop.
Rich, the Owls are going to crowd the line of scrimmage and play the 8-man front. One thing they have to do, if they're going to do it, they have to stop the run, because that is what an 8-man front is designed to do. Stop the run and put your corners on an island, but Temple hasn't been able to stop the run even in that 8-man front.
This time, the Hokies are a little bit closer, but still short.
Like just that tape holding the chain
One
together.
link. It'll be second down and a link. One thing Frank Beamer did for Michael Vick last year, Gino, was they took him on all the road trips. They included him in all the meetings. They made sure that he was as much of a part of a team as a redshirt quarterback could be. And Beamer has felt that has really helped him not get overwhelmed by everything.
Oh, sure. Nothing's new to him. All the road trips are the same. He's gone through it. He's got a year under his belt traveling. It's helped him out tremendously.
Third down and a link. And they'll go from the shotgun. Ferguson, the fullback. And he's got the first down to the 15-yard line. Jarrett Ferguson. Sean Martin made the stop for the Temple Owls.
Rich, let's take a look. This is what I'm talking about, an 8-man front. Here's the box here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You only have 3 defenders in coverage behind it. That is your front to stop the run. And the Owls have still not been able to stop the run of Virginia Tech.
Andre Davis in motion. Stiff to the 10. Sean Lacey made the stop. Interesting, last year, Gino, when Virginia Tech lost to Temple, the Hokies absolutely ran wild. 337 yards on the ground last year.
But what they didn't do is they didn't put the nail in the coffin, as they say, because they had every opportunity. They fumbled inside the 5-yard line, ended up dropping a touchdown pass at the end of the game that would have won the football game.
Virginia Tech actually had a 17-0 lead in that ball game. Stiff outside. And he's dragged down at the 7-yard line. Kevin Harvey made the stop. And the damage today for Virginia Tech has been on the ground.
Already 88 yards. A big part of that, though, the 53-yard run by Michael Vick on only the second play of the game.
And we're looking at another short yardage situation. More than a link, it's 3rd and 1. Stiff. Oh, as he popped right at the 5. Boy, you can hear that one. Keith Staples, a sophomore linebacker, along with Danny Klecko, made the stop.
See Klecko on the interior just piling things up, and Suman comes in and makes a nice tackle. Another 4th and short. The reason Virginia Tech goes for these, they're the second-best team in the country. They have to go for these 4th and short situations.
9 of 11 on 4th down this year. Up is Kendrick. The question is, did he get over? I don't know. I don't think so. The Owls may have held.
Rich, I don't think he got over. And the defensive coordinator, Raymond Monica told us yesterday, he goes, we've had a tendency to bend, but sometimes good things happen to us in bad situations. There's one of them, 4th and short, able to hold Virginia Tech.
Taylor Suman, the sophomore linebacker, part of that big stop.
Here you see just penetration by the Owl front 4, and then the linebackers come in. Andre Kendrick able to hold the running back short of the first down. Look at that. That's a great, nice swarm around by the defense, just swarming the football.
A dangerous spot on the field for the Temple offense. Ben Taylor, the first to get there. Jason McKee on the carry. Taylor is the only underclassman on this very good Virginia Tech defense. He's a sophomore out of Bel Air, Ohio. The rest are all seniors and a few juniors sprinkled in.
Rich, and now's the situation, second down and long. You have to pick up some yardage because of the Virginia Tech special teams.
And if Scott throws one away here, it could be 2 points. Lots of time over the middle. It's caught by Jamal Wallace. He's planted at the 9. They're short of the first down by 6. We head to the studios. Reese Davis.
And Rich, you know that Purdue has owned the old Oaken bucket of late, trailing Indiana 7-0. Montrello fumbles, but there is Chucky Jacoby. He wants that bucket, and he recovers it. We're tied at 7. Meanwhile, at the Big House, Ohio State on the move against Michigan. Steve Belisari to Kevin Hauser. And Cooper's never won in Ann Arbor, but he's up 7-0.
Thanks, Reese. 7-all here. 3rd and 7. Temple deep in their own end. And here comes Virginia Tech. Quick throw to the outside. Muckerson can't hold it. Fourth down.
Quick wide receiver screen. Devin Scott hits Muckerson right in the hands. Like I said, opportunities when they knock these Temple Owls, they can't afford not to take advantage of them.
And for the second time, Garvin Ringwelski is going to have to punt from his end zone. 32 yards on his first kick. And he wobbles this one out. A fair catch made by Ricky Hall at the 46-yard line. Number 2, Virginia Tech and Temple tied at 7. The Hokies have come to Philadelphia, and the Temple Owls were waiting for him. 7-7. And again, great field position for Virginia Tech. Vick, his catch, Hall, and Ricky Hall out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Philip Shepard made the stop.
Just a nice wide receiver screen. Michael Vick, play action to Stith, hits the wide receiver. See the tackle out in front of him. That may have been another questionable holding call out there, Rich.
1st and 10. Here are the numbers we talked about. Field position, their own 47. This is Andre Kendrick. Kendrick, first and second effort, gets him to the 18-yard line and 2 yards. Tonight on ESPN and ESPN2. First, number 23, Georgia, number 16, Ole Miss at 6 Eastern. Then the Iron Bowl on ESPN. It's at 7:30 Eastern. Number 8, Alabama, has to go to Jordan-Hare to take on Auburn. And number 15, Mississippi State, will take on number 24, Arkansas, back on ESPN2. It's tonight on ESPN and ESPN2, your home for Bowl Week. Dan Klecko, true freshman. He had a good coach growing up. A former Temple All-American named Joe. Vick, scrambling, still alive, looking. He'll keep it, 15, and out of bounds, short of the first down. Taylor Suman made another stop, 7 yards on the pickup.
That is amazing. Michael Vick steps up, nothing there, gets the pressure, able to 360 spin, breaks contained, and he has the speed where he pulls up to even throw. The defender has to break down and cover him, and then he just bursts right by him and runs right by him.
3rd down and 2. Kendrick, he's stuffed again. This may be another 4th down and short. Sean Lacey made the hit. And I think Frank Beamer has seen enough. On comes the kicking team. Shane Graham for the extra point.
You don't want to get down there inside that red zone and come away without points too often. And I think in a 4th down and 2, maybe 3 situation, you have to kick this field goal.
The kick by Graham is good. And so Shane Graham from 29 yards gives Virginia Tech the lead. And Frank Beamer's Hokies are on top. That was only the 3rd time all year, Gino, that they had trailed in a football game. The 7-0 lead by Temple.
Well, they trailed to Miami early on last week, but boy, did they put a whooping on them at the end of the game.
Let's go down below. Don McPherson. Donnie?
And Rich, as can be expected, each bench is somewhat different down here on the field. The Virginia Tech sideline is very methodical. Even with the 4th down plays and the big plays by Vick, they don't get too excited. They know in order to get a national championship, they're going to have to play 4 quarters and play 4-down football. On the other side, Temple, with every big play, the emotion is running high, and the more they hang around this football game and able to stop them on 4th down, they're going to get a little bit of momentum.
Johnny, yesterday when we talked to Frank Beamer, he was worried about emotion playing in this stadium, which obviously is not full, wasn't it?
He's exactly right, and there is not a lot of noise down here on the field if you're a Temple fan or a Temple ball player. But on their sideline, that's where the noise was, and that's where the enthusiasm was. When they were going in for their score, their players were chanting as if they were fans in the stands.
Bernardo Sharps on one knee. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. And Temple has yet to return a kick yet today. Jimmy Kibble makes sure of that by putting it deep in the end zone. Enter Devin Scott. All right, Gino, let's grade out this Temple offense so far. They've hit the big play. They had that 80-yard drive. What have they done since then?
Well, I think they've been forced into some bad situations inside their own 10-yard line. That shrinks your playbook some. So I think now let's see if they can sustain another big drive like they've done on their first drive.
Inside screen. Wow. Carlos Johnson hammered by Corey Bird. It's a loss of 4.
Corey Bird was not biting on that fake draw wide receiver screen one bit. He came right up and just made a nice little hit.
Final seconds of the first quarter. We are done with 1 from the vet. Number 2, Virginia Tech leads Temple 10-7. Michael Vick and the number 2 Hokies are on top. Temple with the football. Number 2 Virginia Tech up 10-7. Devin Scott facing it. 2nd down and long. Scott stepping up and throwing, and it's picked off. Intercepted. Larry Austin up and over and in. Touchdown. The 7th defensive touchdown this year.
That was a good play by Larry Austin, but that's what pressure from the front 4 forces a quarterback to make mistakes. Scott in the pocket, getting a little bit of pressure, trying to get rid of the ball, can't put enough mustard on the ball on that out route, and Austin able to cut in behind the receiver and take it back for 6.
Extra point good. And the Virginia Tech defense has scored a touchdown. What else is new? Since Frank Beamer's been around, 57 defense and special teams touchdowns. As I mentioned, that's the 7th touchdown that this defense has scored this year.
You see Scott sitting in shotgun, takes the snap. Look at the pressure. That pocket just collapses on him. He tries to just throw it out there, can't get enough on it. And Austin able to undercut the receiver and take it back for 6 points.
He looked like Steve Austin going into the end zone. You know, that was a late call in terms of getting him in the end zone. I'm not sure he was in the end zone, Gino.
Well, I'm not sure if he was in the end zone. There's the pressure. Look at Corey Moore. They got 3 guys on him trying to block him, and he's able to still collapse the pocket.
And he had a nice block as well.
And that's what Virginia Tech, why they are right now the second best team in the country as far as the polls go, because they're going to score on offense, they're going to score on defense, and they're going to score on special teams.
And when their offense has struggled, their defense always seems to have a big game, produce a couple of scores.
And Rich, always the national championship team at the end of the year tends to have the best defense in the country. And Virginia Tech ranked 2nd in scoring. They're only giving up 10.6 points per game.
Jimmy Kibble. This time, Tenardo Sharps will get a chance at a return. And Sharps out to the 32-yard line. Derek Pannella made the stop. Good work, Derek. That's loose kid. Let's head to the studios. And Reese Davis.
And Rich, you know, this might be my favorite cut-in of the year. Miami and Rutgers at number 34. Jarrett Payton, and boy, wouldn't his late father be proud of this great run. Jarrett Payton, the freshman, scoring his first career touchdown, now wearing his dad's old number, and Miami's on top of Rutgers 17-0.
Thanks, Reese. Temple with a football. This is their best field position all day to start a drive, and they go nowhere on first down. Well, another dad is very proud of his son, Derek Pannella, son of Seattle Mariner manager Luke Pannella. He's a sophomore. Every time I see Derek, he's gained another 10 or 15 pounds. He came to the program, I think, as a fullback. Then he moved to linebacker. Now he's a defensive end, and he's a big part of the special teams for Virginia Tech, which is saying something, the way they play on special teams. Another quick screen to Sean Dillard, and he's out across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Chris Cyrus made the stop.
And Rich, what Virginia Tech has done, and Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator, told us yesterday, likes to rotate the defensive linemen. Now they got the second group. Well, I mean, for them, their second group's like the starting unit on other ball clubs in the country. So they're giving Corey Moore, Bradley, and Nathaniel Williams a little bit of a breather early on in the game, and that's why in the fourth quarter they tend to dominate teams.
Temple does not have the right personnel on the field. And in the ball game at quarterback now is Kevin Harvey. Harvey just into the ball game. He was the starting quarterback last year. He's the starting cornerback on the defense. He was shifted to defense last year. And
it has 4 interceptions on the season as the starting cornerback.
And he's headed back off the field. The element of surprise was lost, so to speak, with the penalty. And so Devin Scott is back. Third down, 12. Scott looking, throwing, and a great catch in traffic. Sean Dillard, the true freshman, made the catch. First down, Temple.
A nice throw by Devin Scott, and he just got walloped by Corey Moore right after he threw that football. There's a lot of hard hitting going on out there by this Virginia Tech defense. Here you see Scott get flushed out of the pocket, able to break contain with his feet, and watch Corey Moore just puts a nice licking on him right there at the end of it. See Dillard goes up, gets his legs taken out for him by Corey Bird.
Temple keeps it on the ground. Jason McKee, the sophomore, who had a big touchdown run in the win in Blacksburg last year. 17-7. Virginia Tech on top. Temple scored first. Tim Leach, the big offensive lineman, has lost his lid.
And Temple showing a little signs of life here on a nice little drive. They moved the ball with some success here in this drive.
Leach's helmet broken. Hard keeping a helmet on that guy. And I think Temple's going to have to burn a timeout. And they'll be faced with second down and about 7. At stake in this football game, Gino, everyone has talked about it coming into the week, that Virginia Tech not only has to win the game, but they must win this game big to help themselves in the BCS. That's an incredible amount of pressure to put on a team and say you've got to win a game by X amount of points.
I think the media is saying that, but I'm sure Coach Beamer and his staff has his players thinking, hey, all we can do is control what we do on the football field. As long as we go out there, play a good game, and win, don't be concerned with blowing a team out because they don't control the polls.
No, and they don't control the BCS as well. Let's see how Leach lost his helmet. He's working on Corey Moore. And Corey got away. Look at that. Well, I'll tell you what, Virginia Tech has gotten away with 2 or 3 on the interior line, and that, my friend, should be a 15-yard penalty at the very least.
At the very least. And that's, you know, you don't like to see plays like that, but if these officials, hopefully they can see if something like that goes on and start calling these penalties.
Second down and 6. Whistle and movement. There were 3 seconds left on the play clock.
Dead ball. False start.
And Temple
Offense.
moved.
5-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Derek Henson, apparently the guilty party. Second in the NCAA in scoring defense. 3rd in total yards. 5th in rushing allowed. And in all of those categories, they are 1st in the Big East Conference.
Most important is scoring defense, only giving up a little more than 10 points per game.
On 2nd and 11, here comes the blitz. Scott better get rid of it. And he goes down rather meekly at the 34-yard line. That's a huge loss.
Rich, one thing with a young quarterback like Scott, he's only a sophomore. Virginia Tech shows an all-out blitz before the snap, so he should see that with the shotgun. I think he saw it late here, expected some more pressure. I think he still had an opportunity to still throw that football away.
Looks like he tripped over Dave Jovanovic, his right tackle. He is 8 of 12 when he's able to stay on his feet. 3rd and 20. Flags go down, as does Marcus Godfrey. Michael Hawks made the stop.
And this whole drive stalled because of that second medium that they had, and then a false start puts them in a second long. Then they're able, Virginia Tech defense is able to blitz and even putting them in a 3rd and even longer.
There's a look at Tim Leach, who is still not back in the ballgame. They still haven't fixed his helmet. It doesn't seem quite fair, does it, Gino? Virginia Tech's offside, so, and another penalty on Temple, so they'll replay the down. Moore ripped Leach's helmet off and apparently broke it.
Well, I'm sure those little buckles that hold the face mask off, Moore may have broke one of those when he pulled Leach's helmet off. That or the chin strap on his helmet.
Offside on the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Then we have a dead ball, personal foul on the offense, 15 yards, 3rd down.
Here's a look at the personal foul. And so Temple gets flagged. Theo Ross doing the pushing. Moore's helmet stayed on. Leach is back in the ballgame. His helmet is fixed.
And these 5 penalties for 48 yards, Temple cannot afford any negative plays. They have to continue to have positives. They can't have these negative plays, and then when they get the opportunity to make a big catch, make an interception, they have to take advantage of it.
There's Leach, and he's lined up across from Moore on this 3rd down and 30. This Temple drive is moving backwards in a hurry. Scott running out of time, and they've got him. Nathaniel Williams. Let's go to the studios and Reese Davis. Reese?
Rich, you know, the ACC struggling to try to fill all its bowl spots. Maryland trying to get eligible against Virginia. This is Dan Ellis. Look at the soft hands by Billy Baber, the tight end. Touchdown Virginia. They're up 17-10 in the second.
Thanks, Reese. Temple just lost 30 yards on that last drive. And Virginia Tech is going to have to take a timeout. Frank Beamer's not real happy about it. Against Virginia Tech, Gino, you have to be able to, if not win the field position game, at least keep it even. And right now, Temple is losing on the scoreboard and in the field position game. Veterans Stadium, the Eagles and the Colts will play here tomorrow. Right now, it's Virginia Tech and Temple. And Ringwelski gets this one away, and a good kick, though not a good bounce for the Owls. And Virginia Tech will have it at their own 46-yard line. 39 yards on the punt from Garvin Ringwelski. Later today on ABC, college football, number 13 Penn State will try to bounce back against number 14 Michigan State. UCLA will try to make it 9 in a row over the Trojans. That's at 3:30 Eastern and 12:30 Pacific today on ABC. Check your local listings for the games in your area. Make sure you can see them by ordering ESPN Game Plan on pay-per-view. Virginia Tech, a 10-point lead with the football. Chiron Stiff around the left side, and Chiron Stiff is inside the 40 and down to the 35-yard line. And he came a hair away from breaking that one. 18 yards on the pickup.
And the reason he picked up so many yards, Temple gets caught in a blitz there. The Virginia Tech front line able to give Stiff a crease, and there you see in a blitz, you make that one guy miss, and it turns into a big play.
Again, Stiff to the 34-yard line. To the studios, Reese Davis. What's up, Reese?
Rich, first we'll go to the big house. Michigan down 7-0 to Ohio State, and the A-Train touchdown, Michigan, and they're tied in the second quarter of that game. Wolverines, of course, trying to get a BCS at-large bid. Antoine Randall, touchdown pass, a touchdown run, and the Hoosiers lead the battle for the bucket.
How about those Hoosiers? Virginia Tech, 117-2 now on the rushing yards. Second down, lots of time. Vick over the middle, picked off, intercepted down at the 4-yard line. Kevin Harvey now has 5 interceptions this year.
And Vick trying to get the ball to Andre Davis on a post late down the middle. He had Harvey beat. All he has to do, Vick has all the time in the world. The offensive line is playing great for Virginia Tech. He's sitting there, sees Davis come open, just throws it a little bit behind him, and Harvey in position to pick the pass off. There you see Vick just moving his feet, but unfortunately throws the ball a little bit behind Davis. If he throws that ball out in front of it, it's 6 points.
Mac DeVito is the new quarterback for Temple. And the Owls bust one across the 10. Marcus Godfrey. DeVito is a guy that can come off the bench. He rallied Temple for a win against Pittsburgh in the '98 season.
And Rich, the reason you're going to probably see 2 quarterbacks at Temple is going from an all-out option team to conversely throwing the ball almost every down. You have to make that transition to get a throwing quarterback in your program.
Godfrey again. Corey Moore made the stop. First down, Temple. And the Owls get some much-needed breathing room out to their 16-yard line.
And on the last drive, they moved the ball with some success. They moved it from the 20 to midfield, and then they get a couple penalties against them, a personal foul. They lose 30 yards. That's what the Owls, they can't afford to do that on offense.
Moore does not have a sack today. Godfrey. Oh! Clobbered at the 13-yard line. Chris Cyrus, the first to get there, along with Jake Housewright. Here's a look at Cyrus, the senior out of Rushburg, Virginia.
Tell you what, that play shows exactly the kind of speed that Virginia Tech defense as a whole has. Just takes the play action, the draw, and the Tech defense just swarms Godfrey on that outside, doesn't let him break contain.
Hokies show blitz, quick throw. Nice catch, but it won't go for much yardage. Terrence Leftwich. And it will be third down and long. DeVito is out of Westport, Connecticut. Bobby Wallace in his second year. What a great run he had at North Alabama. 3 national titles. He was voted the NCAA Division II Coach of the Century. Actually, the quarter century. But that's still impressive.
Very impressive. Very impressive. I'm sure with time he will have some success here at Temple.
DeVito going deep. And it's incomplete. He was looking for Jamal Wallace. Ike Charlton on the coverage.
And Ike Charlton had great coverage on Jamal Wallace that whole play. Just a little stunner move off the line of scrimmage, and Charlton just running stride for stride with Wallace in position to intercept that play. But Wallace does a good job of becoming the defender at the end of that play and knocking the ball away from Charlton, not allowing him to pick up that interception.
Greg Welski on 3 kicks has yet to have one in danger. And the Hokies don't come after him. They'll go for the return on a kick that lands near midfield. And Hall will have to watch the Owls down it at the 42-yard line. So Temple at 2-7 is hanging in against Frank Beamer and the Hokies. It's 17-7. Virginia Tech is number 2 in the country, and Temple is not. But the Owls are playing well, hanging in. Michael Vick and the Hokies get it at their own 41-yard line. Option. They'll pitch it. It's Kendrick, and Kendrick is inside the 40 and out of bounds. No flags. Sean Martin made the stop, 20 yards on the pickup.
Rich, that was a good play, but that looked like Plecko broke free and had a chance. It almost looked to me like a holding. Again, critical holding call or non-call against Virginia Tech, able to turn that play that could have been a negative into a positive for them.
Andre Kendrick and Chiron Stiff rotating at the tailback spot. So far, they're racking up big yardage. Vick's throw. Andre Davis. He can fly. And Davis down to the 20-yard line. Kevin Harvey made the stop. First down, Hokies on an 18-yard pickup.
What's most impressive about this Virginia Tech offense is Michael Vick is fast enough. They can run the option on one play. He's got a great enough arm, little play action fake, throw the wide receiver screen here. And you got Andre Davis averaging over 25 yards a catch, who has the speed to break a game wide open.
Bobby Wallace is trying to prevent that right now. Vick scrambling, got him! him. It's Klecko. Danny Klecko with his 7th sack. The true freshman.
Klecko has been around the quarterback this whole game. He just hasn't gotten to him in enough time. That's because Vick has that speed. But here you see just fighting and fighting and fighting. Ends up coming free and getting to Vick.
A 12-yard loss. He's been around the game all of his life. His father played here at Temple, and of course went on to star in the NFL. Quarterback draw. Vick makes one miss, and he's inside the 20. He'll pick up about 14 yards. And Keith Staples made the stop. He'll bring up 3rd down.
You see the quarterback draw. See Klecko fighting through. Questionable 3-point takedown.
Yeah,
I tell you what, they're getting Virginia Tech. I mean, they're playing well, but I think they're getting away with some holding penalties here. Very critical holding penalties.
Vick for the end zone for Davis. It is caught and picked off. Harvey got another one. His 2nd of the ball game. And the Owls hold again. Kevin Harvey and the Temple Owls hanging in against the #2 team in the country. Virginia Tech by 10, but the Owls won't give up. Kevin Harvey with his 2nd interception, and Temple has forced another Virginia Tech turnover. The problem for Temple, though, is when they force the turnover, they're usually backed up to their end zone. And they've been in bad field position for the entire football game.
And Rich, one thing I think that shows is the youngness of Michael Vick as a redshirt freshman quarterback, being somewhat lackadaisical on that last throw.
Movement and flags. And this is going against
Dead
Temple.
ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard. Replay it down.
You will see on the interception, Vick has all the time in the world. Just kind of lackadaisical. Doesn't really step into that throw. Underthrows his wide receiver. And gives Harvey a chance to pick the play off. There you see, I mean, he realizes what he did, but he's only a freshman. We got to realize that he's only 19 years old out there leading one of the best teams in the country.
Temple right now, there's some discussion with the officials. I think Temple felt that they moved while Virginia Tech was across the line of scrimmage.
Foul is offside on the defense.
After further review, and it's a 5-yard mark-off against Frank Beamer.
And that play somewhat made popular in the NFL by Derek Thomas from Kansas City with the noise and trying to fake like you're going to rush. It pulls the offensive lineman out of his stance into an offsides call.
On the handoff, Tenardo Sharps out of bounds, and he'll lose yardage down to the field. Don McPherson. Donnie?
Hey, Rich, you've called that name Dan Klecko many times. I'm joined by his dad, former All-Pro with the New York Jets, Joe Klecko. What's it like watching your son?
Exhilarating, it really is. And he's doing well. That's the best part about it. Danny came in here, you know, really not expecting to play a whole lot, maybe his freshman year, but he came in, made a big impact, and he's my kid, but he's a tough little kid.
You played here yourself at Temple. You watch this program. When we talk to the coaches, they talk about Danny having that leverage. Reminds me a lot of the leverage that you had playing on the inside. Do you find yourself coaching him up to play the game?
Well, I don't want to say anything, but I think he had a pretty good teacher. You know what I mean? Danny does what he's told. And, you know, I see Danny do things that big-time ball players play. Guys that really know what they're doing, and Danny plays like that. And he executes it. So, you know, as far as from the execution part, the skill part, he's got it.
What about this Temple program? You see Coach Wallace come in here. He starts to turn things around. What's your impressions of the program?
Well, the biggest thing about why Danny came here, really, and I left a lot of the decision to him, he asked me a lot of questions, but was going to good people. And Bobby Wallace is what I call good people. Comes with a winning tradition, comes with a lot of good baggage, and he has an idea on what he wants. Temple's now putting together a whole lot of things behind him. New complex for the football team and everything. So they have a lot to look forward to the program.
Thanks a lot, Joe. Good to see you again.
Pleasure.
They have a 3rd and 7 to look forward to here. The pass is completed. Joe Camus, the tight end, with the catch, but he's going to be short of the first down. Jake Housewright made the stop. And Temple will be forced to kick. Just short of the 30-yard line. 4th down and about a yard. Garvin Ringwelski to punt. Virginia Tech came after him, and the true freshman got it off. Ricky Hall. And he swallowed up at the 34-yard line. The Temple Owls, with Joe's kid doing quite well. The Temple Owls against number 2 Virginia Tech. 17-7, Hokies on top. The Owl against the Gobbler. Worst field position of the day for Virginia Tech. And Stiff is hammered. Pepe Pichette made the stop, the senior out of Florence, New Jersey. Tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern on ESPN, the NASCAR Winston Cup Series finale. It's the Napa 500 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Dale Jarrett has already won the series championship. Jeff Gordon trying to defend his Napa 500 title. It begins at 11:30 a.m. with NASCAR Today on ESPN2. 2nd down 10. Vick to the sideline, got it. Andre Davis escapes. He can fly. He will score. Touchdown, Virginia Tech. .65 yards.
And Andre Davis shows us that power and speed that he has, able to fight off a tackle there after he makes the catch and just outraces everybody to the end zone.
Davis, who's averaging 26 yards a catch.
And those 65-yard touchdowns, well, obviously up there, pretty good for the average.
Graham's extra point is good. Michael Vick to Andre Davis. Number 2 Virginia Tech trying to pull away from the Temple Owls. They're up 24-7. This was an interesting week for Frank Beamer and his Hokies. They were preparing for a team that was 2-7, a team that had struggled mightily over the last few years, but it was a team that somehow found a way to beat Virginia Tech and ruin their perfect season last year. And the Hokies on top. Sharps lost the football. Who's got it? I think Temple got it back. Kyron Johnson on the bottom of the pile with the loose ball.
Rich, Temple was able to upset Virginia Tech last year, but this late in the season, you see the Owls fighting for it and Kyron Johnson coming up with it. But this late in the season, they realize what's on the line with the national championship in the balance.
Mac DeVito still in at quarterback. Little swing pass. Marcus Godfrey out to the 20-yard line to To the studios, Reese Davis.
And Rich, coming up at halftime, we're going to take you down to Gainesville, just about 2 hours away from kickoff down there now. And John Makovic also weighs in on what Steve Spurrier's biggest obstacle might be. We'll update you on all of the rivalry games on Rivalry Saturday and try to lend some perspective to the BCS, as well as those just trying to get bowl eligible. All of that coming up at the half.
All right, thanks, Reese. At the Vet, Temple played well early in this one, but they are fading fast. Godfrey out to the 21-yard line. Michael Hawks and Chris Cyrus the stop.
Let's go back to the touchdown pass by Michael Vick. Here you see finds Davis. They're throwing at Kevin Harvey. Harvey able to pick off a couple passes earlier, but Davis with the speed and the power, once he breaks his tackle, no one's going to catch him. Look at that. He breaks through 2 defenders' tackles on the Owls and able to outrace everybody to the end zone. And like I was saying earlier, Virginia Tech realizes this late in the season, when you're 9-0 and you're number 2 in the country, every game is essentially your national championship game. You can't afford to let any of them slip away.
And maybe every point today will help you in the Bowl Championship Series standings, because when the computers start figuring in your margin of victory, Virginia Tech needs all the help they can get, because the team that's right on their tail, Nebraska, has 2 more games left. Nebraska's at Colorado, and then they've got Texas. Nebraska's strength of schedule is much, much better than Virginia Tech's, and that is helping them in this BCS standings, because obviously Nebraska has a loss, Virginia Tech doesn't. And if Nebraska wins out and Virginia Tech wins out, there might be a lot of disappointed Hokie fans. That one's picked off. Michael Hawks with the interception. DeVito threw it right to him. And Virginia Tech is on quite a roll right now.
And Rich, I don't really understand the BCS and the total points, but I do know if Virginia Tech, if they finish this game and able to win next week, they should be playing for it all in the Sugar Bowl. Here you see DeVito, just an interior screen to the wide receiver, but doesn't realize there's a lot of defenders in there when you're throwing the ball on the inside.
Bobby Wallace needs somebody to make a play. Hokies trying to finish the half with a flourish. Vick will keep it. And he runs right into Calvin Wilkinson and Dan Klecko. Clock continues to roll, and the Hokies in their 2-minute drill. Vick, this one caught Emmett Johnson short of the first down, so the clock will continue to roll until Vick stops it with a timeout. Temple is down big, Gino, but they've got Virginia Tech right where they want them. In 4 of the wins, Bobby Wallace has won 4 games at Temple. In 3 of those wins, they have come from behind, and come from behind in rather big ways.
So they got them right where they want
That's
them.
what I mean. Maybe not.
Well, I think this is a little bit different ball club. I think when you're facing a Virginia Tech team that is tops in all 3 of their phases, offense, defense, and special teams, it's very, very tough to win and to beat them. You don't want to get down, and I think Temple's made a few mistakes, gotten themselves in, had some penalties called against them. Those are things they can't afford.
Stay with us at halftime, the Buick Halftime Report with Reese Davis and the coach, John Makovic. The Temple Owls appearing on national television, they tell us, for the first time since the 1979 Garden State Bowl, in which they beat the California Golden Bears.
Was Joe Klecko playing here then?
No. I think Joe was out in the early to mid-70s. But hey, his son's here, and Dan's playing very well today, and he's had a great year. Quarterback draw. Vick is caught, and he's short of the first down. He lost the football. Temple thinks they have it. Virginia Tech has got to hustle to get the field goal unit on. Bobby Wallace thought his team had a turnover.
Number 17, Shane Graham.
Shane Graham. He is a good one. Three-time All-Big East pick. 34 yards. And the Hokies, a 27-7 lead.
Let's take a look at that last play. This is exactly what the Owls were talking about. They thought they had a fumble here by Michael Vick.
Oh, they did.
The ball came out before his knee was down. There you see no knee down. The ball is out. That is a fumble. And that cost Temple 3 points. And, you know, those are things, it's tough enough to beat this Virginia Tech team. But then when you're not getting calls go your way, it makes it even tougher.
LeVar Talley made the stop. Not a good day so far if you're a Temple Owl. At 27-7. Jimmy Kibble to kick off. And it's a ground ball to short. Taken there by Kyron Johnson. And the first half is over. Virginia Tech playing like the #2 team in the country. They lead Temple big time. Let's head to the studios.
This season.
The numbers from the early precincts are in. And it looks like our exit poll shows Virginia Tech is well out in front in terms of yardage. And I think in terms of the BCS, they need to win this game, many people feel, convincingly. Cullen Hawkins, one of the upbacks, and Cullen Hawkins breaks loose. He's down to the 27-yard line. Randy Washington made the stop. 58 yards on the return by Cullen Hawkins. When's the last time you saw an upback take one almost to the house, so to speak?
Well, I'm sure the Owls were trying to avoid a long return, try to pin Hawkins down on a short kick. He's still able to break through, make a couple defenders miss on Temple. There you see the kicker just giving a last-ditch effort.
Virginia Tech had great field position through the entire first half. And Chiron Stiff is inside the 25-yard line. First half possessions. Look at the field position.
Averaging their own 44. When you can do that as the second-ranked team in the country, the Temple Owls are giving Virginia Tech a short field to work every drive.
Two interceptions, along with a touchdown pass for Vick. Out of the pocket, and he's stopped. Vick hit from behind. Calvin Wilkinson got him as he cut back.
And Rich, watching that first half, it's not that Virginia Tech is just dominating this game on offense. I think they got a score by the defense. They're getting contributions from all phases of their team.
Third down. Blitz coming. Vick steps up. They'll get him again. And the Temple Owls, Dan Klecko at the bottom there. That's his second sack of the day, his 8th of the season. Calvin Wilkinson will get a half sack on that as well.
And like his father Joe said in the first half, he had a pretty good teacher. And I think, you know, that helps when you grow up with your father being a 3-time Pro Bowler and just a great defensive lineman for the New York Jets. He's been coached by the best that Joe's had, and Joe's able to pass that information along to his son.
Jimmy Kibble will punt it away. And let's see if the Hokies can down it. They don't need to. Sideways bounce. And it's out at the 15-yard line. 27-7, Virginia Tech on top. Philadelphia, home of the Temple Owls. And right now they're in a 27-7 hole. Devin Scott, who started the game and came out, is back in. And Scott with a quick throw that's caught by the tight end, Joe Camus, and he'll ramble across the 40. And Camus is out to the 43-yard line. 28 yards on the throw from Devin Scott. Philadelphia also home of the Philadelphia Eagles. And our buddy Don McPherson played a few years here. Donnie, what's up?
Hey, Rich, I talked to Frank Beamer at halftime, and he said he was a little bit frustrated with his team making the big plays, but not doing the little things right, not taking advantage of every opportunity. On this sideline, Coach Bob Wallace wants his team to hit the ball in the middle, stop trying to bounce it out onto the outside. He knows that he can run the ball, but he wants his guys to hit it up in the middle. One note, Devin Scott came out of the ball game for a short period of time in the first half. He's got a sprained wrist. He's back in the game now, but let's keep an eye on that wrist.
Hey, Donnie, while you're down there, and we see Bobby Wallace right now, the transformation that this program is undergoing right now, they're building a huge football complex on campus, and the next piece of the puzzle might be a new stadium in Philadelphia. They're talking about replacing the Vet, the Phillies getting a new stadium, and the Eagles getting a stadium, quite possibly that the Temple would share one. What do you know about the situation? You're a Philly guy.
Well, there's a lot of money in the state legislature here in the state of Pennsylvania for new stadium construction and reconstruction, but they have to share it with Pittsburgh. So it's going to rely on the owners of the Phillies and the Eagles to come together on a joint venture or a joint stadium, or each team going out and finding the land and the resources to build a new stadium. Temple's future is in the balance here because Temple wants a facility that they can call home for their recruiting purposes and every other purposes. They're doing a lot of work up at North Philly on their campus, but they're looking for a stadium to call home, so they want to get in on a deal with at least the Eagles.
Kind of similar to the way the Pitt Panthers are doing it with the Steelers. Worst home records in the 90s. This is not necessarily because this is not a great home field, but Temple's not been a real good program in the 90s. As you can see, but this man in his second year was a legend at North Alabama, and he accepted the challenge to come to Philadelphia. Many people feel he's made progress, not by leaps and bounds, which is hard to do at this place, but he's starting back on that road, little by little. Scott on the option, and Scott is across midfield to the 47-yard line. Nick Sorensen made the stop. That's kind of the option from last year, Gino.
The option from last year, but Devin Scott, these first two plays of the second half, he came out, he audibled on the big completion to his tight end before, able to pick up a lot of yards, then comes out in the option. And just like Don McPherson said, don't try to bounce outside, cut back and get that ball in the middle because Virginia Tech has the speed to run you down going outside.
McKee on the inside handoff, and he's down to the 42-yard line. Ben Taylor and Nick Sorensen made the stop for Virginia Tech. Last year when these two teams played, Nick Sorensen, who is the safety today, was the starting quarterback for Virginia Tech. Al Clark was hurt, along with Dave Meyer, and Sorensen had to play quarterback last year. Very versatile guy, but he's found a home at the free safety spot. Here comes a blitz. They had the right play called, but they couldn't execute it. Godfrey was in the flat. Scott could not get him the ball.
Those are the types of opportunities the Owls can't afford to not make the plays. Godfrey was out there on a screen. The Virginia Tech defense caught in the blitz. No one accounted for the running back, and Scott just can't get him the ball.
And Bobby Wallace knows it. He had a big play waiting to happen. 2nd down and 10. Corey Moore, so fast off the end. He may have been a little too fast. Good anticipation by our director, John Del Vecchio.
Dead ball, false start, offense.
Well, he was drawn off.
We played it down.
He's as disruptive a player as you'll find in college football. 6 feet, 225 pounds, out of Brownsville, Tennessee. Pro scouts, some of them really like him. Some of them say maybe he's too small.
I don't know. The guy runs a 4.34. He's got wide receiver speed, and he's got the toughness to play defensive end. Even when opposing teams put tight ends on him to give the tackles extra help block him, they still can't block him. So I think any time a guy has that type of athletic ability, he'll be playing a lot of years at the next level.
He only has 1 tackle today. Inside screen this time to Carlos Johnson as he races for the sideline, and he's thrown out of bounds, and a flag I think will come flying. The official reached for the flag, and I think we'll get a personal foul on Virginia Tech, and that was in front of the Virginia Tech bench. Well, the Temple players were indicating a personal foul, but no flag.
You see Sorensen steps out of bounds, gives that extra shove, and it almost looks like, watch the official here.
Watch him reach.
Almost look at
Watch
him
reach.
reaching for his.
He was reaching for his flag, Gino. He never pulled it out. That one is incomplete as Scott was hit on a blitz by Ike Charlton.
Sorensen just comes free right through the middle. They come with a safety blitz, and he just puts a wallop on Devin Scott, so he can't deliver the ball accurately.
Garvin Ringwelski to punt it away. And it's into the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20. So Virginia Tech will get the football. The Hokies on top, 27-7. The look at that hit by Nick Sorensen on Carlos Johnson. We saw the official reaching for the flag on that last replay, and he actually went and got it.
Let's take a look. We only saw him reaching, but look at this. He actually takes the flag out of his pocket and puts it on the ground. That's as good as throwing it. How don't you, if you take it out of your pocket, that's a 15-yard penalty.
Maybe on further review, his partner felt it wasn't a late hit. Virginia Tech keeps it on the ground with Andre Kendrick. LeVar Talley made the stop. 5-yard pickup. Temple defense has been called upon an awful lot today. Vick flushed out, and he is loose again. Midfield. Vick, he's may go. He will. Touchdown, Michael Vick. 75 yards.
Rich, We've seen a lot of athletic quarterbacks this season, and Antoine Randall at Indiana, Billy Cockrum at Minnesota, but I don't think we've seen a quarterback with the speed that Michael Vick has, running the 40 and 4.3. Temple gets caught in a blitz. They have a little play action. He's able to break contain, and his receivers still blocking downfield. That's an impressive run.
He has had touchdown runs of 53 and 75 yards.
Let's take a look. Michael Vick comes out the play action, and Temple is there to defend it. He just cuts right back, gets up the field. From there, he's off to the races. His receivers give him a couple blocks downfield. There's no possible way you can do that unless you have that 4.3 speed that Michael Vick has. Here you see, he sees the blitz. He knows, he makes a quick play action fake, sets up, the Owls are there, reverses directions, and no one can catch him. There you see the receivers blocking downfield in front of him. Great job of all 11 players on offense not ever giving up on the play.
He is something. What does the coach in the box tell a quarterback after he runs 75 yards like that?
You had a guy,
you had a guy open.
But you had everybody covered. Why didn't you just throw it away instead of run for 75 and a touchdown?
Sharps goes to a knee, out to the 20. Ricky Bussell, the offensive coordinator for Virginia Tech. Let's see, you had Hall open, you had Davis open, but you know what? That's okay.
I think Temple did a great job of defending the receivers. They had everybody covered downfield. They had Michael Vick caught, not letting him break contain, and he just turns around and runs the other way, and no one can catch him.
He's almost like a punt returner once he gets out of the pocket. He's a guy that if he gets a seam, can escape. Devin Scott back at quarterback for Temple. Camus to the 30. Jamel Smith made the stop for Virginia Tech.
Rich, he's like a punt returner, but I'd be willing to say that he's probably faster than every person on Temple's defense.
I would think so.
There's not many players in college football that run a 4.33 40.
Or squat. What does he squat?
He's got a 40-inch vertical, benches 320, and squats 500 pounds.
Scott to the sidelines, and it's caught by Muckerson, and Muckerson is knocked out of bounds at the 41. You can read about all the vitals of Michael Vick in this week's issue of ESPN, the magazine. The Whiz Kid, the redshirt freshman of Virginia Tech.
He's going to be throwing for a lot of years here. He's got 3 more years after this one at Virginia Tech.
11th longest in Virginia Tech history. Scott's throw is in and out of the hands of Sean Dillard, who falls to the turf here at the Vet, which can be quite painful. This is the hardest surface of any National Football League facility that has AstroTurf.
Well, I think any turf is hard. I think that Philadelphia always gets rated as the worst field the pros want to play on, but you got to realize in the NFL they're playing on, you know, fairways and greens on Sundays, and I think guys want to play always on grass because it's easier on their body or easier on their joints and things like that.
Don McPherson, you spent some time on this turf, quite literally.
And this turf is definitely ankle killers. We've already seen one player from Temple, Theo Ross, is out with an ankle injury, right guard, and now we have another player down. So this turf is definitely taking its toll on the Temple players.
Is it just that they haven't replaced it, or why is the turf so hard here than some other outdoor AstroTurf fields?
Well, this is actually fairly new turf. It's only about 3 or 4 years old, but the difference is with this field is that with the baseball field in here, you have first base, home plate, the pitcher's mound, second base, and third are all on the one side of the field, and the seams, when they replace the turf, are very wide, and sometimes, a lot of times, those seams come up and players trip. We've seen a lot of players get hurt on those seams.
And it's not a rather soft landing when they come down.
It's a very hard surface as well. Yes, you're right.
That may be the biggest AstroTurf seam I've ever seen. Look at that. That's not on the plate.
That's not in the left field of play, though. I think what also is with the cold weather that you usually get in Philadelphia makes the surface even that much harder.
The cold weather and the rain as well, and this place gets a lot of rain definitely in the fall. This is uncharacteristic weather, but it does make it very slick. It's a very slick surface in the wet weather.
Tim Leach being helped to the bench right now. He went down on that last play. He's the best offensive lineman for Temple, and he's a good one. Third down short, and the Owls pick it up. Doesn't look like it. Bernardo Sharps on the carry. Fourth down and short, and I think Bobby Wallace may just go for it here.
Rich, I will say this. One thing that I do like about Virginia Tech coming out in the start of this second half is they've turned up the intensity at another level. As they're coming after them, Temple on defense and blitzing. They know what's at stake here, and like you said they got to score, win by a lot of points. You know, I think they're doing exactly what they want here today.
Wallace thought about going for it and now has decided to bring Garvin Ringwelski on. Ricky Hall. Ooh, big special teams block.
Thank you.
Jamel Smith, and a flag goes down.
Thank you. One guy staring there right there and looking at it. He wouldn't call it. See the flag come out of
33 yards on the kick. Corey Moore.
Illegal block in the back by the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Moore moving a little gingerly.
We'll see the block in the corner. There, right there. The helmet is in the back of the defender. His helmet has to be in front of the defender where it's not. It should be considered a legal block, and that right there shows it was a good call by the official.
Hey, come on, guys! Come on, guys! Come on, guys! Come on, guys! Take that shit off, guys! Come on, guys!
Stiff out to the 24-yard line. Top two conferences in college basketball in the first ever ACC Big Ten Challenge, November 30th and December 1st. ESPN and ESPN2 will bring you 8 of the 9 games. Log on to ESPN.com and play the ACC Big Ten Challenge Pick'em for a chance to win a trip to either the ACC or the Big Ten tournament in 2000. On second down, Stiff, right side. Gino, there's a question in my mind. It's 34-7, Virginia Tech, 7.5 minutes left. The game is almost out of hand. How long does Frank Beamer stay with his first unit here? Because certainly he tried to deflect much of the BCS talk and running up the score and winning by a big margin. What do you think is going through his mind right now?
Well, I think if they do go down the field and score a touchdown here, that's probably the last we'll see Michael Vick in the starting offense, or at least some of the starters on offense. But they still need to work. They have another game after this one. They have to sharpen up their skills.
Stiff straight ahead to the 34-yard line. They have Boston College next week.
Right, and I'm sure we've seen the play calling. It just looks a little bit different on this drive. They're trying to run the ball, trying to sharpen up their blocking, the assignments by their offensive line, but I'm sure if they go down the field and score here, it's the last that we'll see of most of the starters on Virginia Tech.
2nd and 6. Michael Vick on the out pattern to Andre Davis, and he's got the first down to the 41-yard line. Teddy Fryer on the coverage for Temple. Of course, in the Bowl Championship Series, for those of you unaware, the scoring elements: 1/4 poll average, computer average, schedule strength, and number of losses. Now, obviously, Virginia Tech, number of losses, they're very good. Poll average, they're pretty good as well. It's the schedule strength and the computer average as well. Those are the areas that Nebraska has made up some ground on.
You know, and that's the I see a problem in the BCS if this team goes undefeated and is not in the Sugar Bowl playing for the national championship. They can't control what their opponents or previous opponents are doing. All they can do is sit down. Their athletic director makes up the schedule. The players didn't make up the schedule. I'm sure they'd say, let's play the best team in the country every week, but they didn't do it. All they can do is beat the teams they play on Saturday.
Stiff. And he's knocked out of bounds. And flags come down. And this time, I think they're for real. Dan Klecko in on the stop, and he's hobbling right now.
Dead ball, late hit, out of bounds by the defense. 15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
And it's a first down for Virginia Tech. Here's a look.
Klecko has him, but they're stiff out of bounds. There's the late hit.
That's a good call.
A good call, but Temple was unfortunate that they didn't get some of those called their way in the first half thus far in the game, and now when they finally do call it, it's against them.
Anytime you get hit along the sideline like that, I'm all for a flag. Michael Vick and the Hokies trying to bounce outside is Andre Kendrick. Strength of schedule.
This is what we're talking about here. They can't control what their opponents do or their opponent's record. All they can do is win every game that they play. That's where I don't think if Virginia Tech goes undefeated, they should be playing in the Sugar Bowl for a national championship, because they've shown me today in the little bit that I've seen them thus far previous in the season that they are one of the best teams in the country.
Vick. He'll throw it deep. Touchdown! Andre Davis. 31 yards.
Rich, and the reason that I say Virginia Tech is one of the best teams in the country, Don McPherson said it at the start of the telecast. It's offense, defense, and special team. There's 3 phases of this game. Virginia Tech hasn't come out here and wowed us with their offense or their defense or their special teams, but they've been able to score on defense. They've been able to be consistent on their offense, and their defense has turned it up a notch and become dominant in the second half.
Shane Graham with the extra point. So Michael Vick with 2 long touchdown runs and 2 long touchdown passes. And number 2, Virginia Tech looks it on top over Temple. 41-7, number 2, Virginia Tech on top. Michael Vick is either on the field, running or throwing, or on the headsets. He doesn't do much else out here.
He hasn't done much wrong besides a couple of lackadaisical passes in the first half. He's been very impressive.
Tenardo Sharps finally goes down. Derek Piniella in on the stop. Down below is Don McPherson. Donnie?
Hey, Rich, the problems for Temple increase with Theo Ross is now in the locker room. Tim Leach, left tackle, has a right knee sprain. They're icing it down now. They're not sure if he's going to return.
All right, thanks, Donnie. Temple takes over. Devin Scott. Oh, my. Ben Taylor just planted Greg Muckerson on the hard Veteran Stadium turf.
This is what happens. You throw those high balls. Those receivers don't like going up for those. But Taylor just, he makes Muckerson pay for it.
Muckerson again. And again it's Taylor. Down goes Frazier.
Coach, I need a blow.
Oh my goodness, the poor kid, a sophomore out of Trenton, and he's still in one piece, and that's good.
Just on a slant route. These balls have to be low for the receiver. It was, but boy, Taylor is there and just does those are picture book form tackles right there for Ben Taylor.
Scott's going to throw it up, and it is dropped. Roniel Whitaker almost had an interception. We head to the studios. Reese Davis. Reese?
From some nasty hits to what the kids like to call a sick run, and that means good. Lamont Jordan from Maryland against Virginia. Terps trying to get bowl eligible, and Lamont Jordan has logged on, and he is part of the Gone Network. 90 yards, 239 on the day. He set a school record for single-season rushing yards.
He's one of the better running backs we've seen this year. We had Maryland early in the season, Gino, and he put on an impressive performance for us. Ricky Hall at midfield gets a good block, and Hall is down to the 41-yard line. The Hokies are hitting right now, and they're on top. Tournament week tips off. College basketball doubleheaders on both ESPN and ESPN2. 2 Eastern on ESPN. First round coverage of the Maui Invitational at Chaminade. Chaminade against Purdue. Then at 9 o'clock, 5th-ranked North Carolina takes on USC. Then on the Deuce at 7, Big East Showdown, UMass and UConn. And then at 11:30, Georgetown and Memphis from Maui. Now Marco Jackson goes down. Well, Corey Moore does the hitting a lot, but he had nothing but high fives for Ben Taylor.
Virginia Tech's like the Energizer Bunny. They keep going and going and going. These guys are impressive in all phases of their game. Even their backups come in and they've been dominant.
Right now, the first offense is still in the ball game at 41-7. Cullen Hawkins, who had that great kickoff return, dropped by Taylor Suman. And it will be second down. Rather, third down now. And about 6. There's a look at Ben Taylor, Jamel Smith, Michael Hawks. Moore is the headliner on that defense, but they are deep and they are good.
That was a great one, I'm telling you.
The team speed on defense, that is why this Tech defense is ranked number 2 in the country.
Vick. Michael Vick got a man open, and it's caught. Derek Carter, the tight end. And he's popped by Kevin Harvey at the 20-yard line.
Vick is making great decisions. Here he steps up in the pocket. Looks like he's going to run, try to get the first down. Temple comes up. All the secondary comes up, says, all right, we're not going to let him run. Finds a tight end standing by himself in the middle of the field.
touchdown. The junior out of Lynchburg. Is that the last series for the first offense for Frank Beamer?
I was just going to say, I was going to go out on a limb, but I think we've seen the last of the Michael Vick and most of the starting offense.
Extra point is up and good.
Kendrick averaging almost 7 yards a carry, and here you see why. Just busts through the line of scrimmage and outraces everybody to the corner of the end zone. No one's catching him.
He and Chiron Stith make a pretty good combination. 246 yards per game, the Hokies average on the ground. They have 282 today. At halftime, many of the legends from Philadelphia. I think Chuck Bednarik is in there, Steve Carlton, and down goes Frazier. There he is, Smoking Joe Frazier. Carlton looking quite jovial. He didn't stop for questions. Dave Meyer. Bernardo Sharps. And Sharps breaking loose out to the 27-yard line. At halftime, you saw the legends. Our legend, Don McPherson, caught up with Smokin' Joe.
Joe, good to see you come out here today and support the Temple program. What was today all about?
I would say, number one, Donnie, that I've been a part of Philadelphia so long, and I heard of Temple. I've been to Mrs. Temple so long. It's just one big part of the family, you know what I mean? But therefore, we're not doing too good right now.
You've been a big, long-time supporter of Philadelphia. You're native of Philadelphia. People know you around the country as one of the greatest fighters ever. What does Philadelphia mean to you?
Philadelphia means, let's say, living, family, love, understanding, you know what I mean, get the job done.
Again, one of the greatest fighters of all time. What do you do to keep yourself busy these days?
Well, right now we run a gymnasium in North Philadelphia for young boys. We have some great guys coming out of the gym now, and therefore we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to stay there and continue making Philadelphia a good place for athletes and great boxing.
Joe, thanks a lot. Great to see you.
Nice seeing you, man.
See, even Joe came out to see Don McPherson play when he was an Eagle. Temple with a football. Devin Scott. His throw is incomplete. Ben Taylor was looking for another big hit and almost got it. Larry Austin on the coverage.
Rich, I was talking earlier about the speed. Ben Taylor is actually listed as a linebacker, but playing safety right now. So that'll tell you just how fast the linebackers in the secondary, and then you've got a guy like Corey Moore that runs a 4.3. He's got wide receiver speed. Engelberger on the other end running in 4.55. Very impressive.
Taylor may be blitzing on this play, along with everybody else in a white jersey. And down goes Scott. Ben Taylor. Third sack of the day on the Temple quarterback.
And the players realize the situation they're in with the BCS standings. They know they're ranked number 2 in the country. They know they have to win big. They're coming out here and making a statement today and just coming after them. They're playing hard, good, hard football.
Larry Austin was in on that stop. Uh-oh. Whoa! It's loose. Hokies have it. Andre Davis. This is a reputation turnover because Virginia Tech's reputation for blocking punts, I'm sure, made the true freshman Garvin Ringwelski a little bit nervous.
Good snap, just hits him right in the chest. Just can't get a handle on it. Like you said, reputation. I'm sure he's nervous about them coming in and blocking it. Probably took his eye off the ball late, thinking about the rush.
Michael Vick is out of the game. Dave Meyer, the quarterback. Andre Kendrick in motion. And Stiff still in the game. Carries it to the 5-yard line. Meyer got some starts last year when Al Clark was hurt. He's a big kid, a junior, out of nearby Ramsey, New Jersey. One more quarter left. Number 2, Virginia Tech, comfortably on top, 48-7. Moments ago, Tim Leach, the senior out of Philadelphia. Into the locker room he goes. It's tough. A tough loss for Temple, their best offensive lineman. Now the pitch to Chiron Stiff. And Stiff is wiped out at the 3-yard line. Good play by Taylor Suman. Let's head to the studios. Reese Davis. What's up, Reese?
Rich Gino was talking about the BCS. Michigan hoping for an at-large bid. They were down 17-10 Ohio State after an Ian goal pick. Tom Brady finding Sean Thompson. The Wolverines have tied it, and they're in the 4th quarter in the Big House, all locked up at 17. And well, for Rutgers, at least they can think about Syracuse because Miami's rolled double nickels on them. It's 55-0 in the 4th.
Yeah, and you showed us that great run by Jarrett Payton. 44 yards. Miami had Virginia Tech last week in a very tough physical game. Kendrick busts his way into the end zone. Touchdown. $54-7. I think this will take care of the computers and the margin of victory. I think mission accomplished on that end. I think for Frank Beamer's club now, he just got to get out of Philly without any injuries.
I don't think Virginia Tech has any problem holding up their end of the bargain of the BCS. The problem is their opponents that they've already beat, their weakness is schedule.
2 touchdowns for Andre Kendrick. And the Hokies on a roll in Philadelphia, up big. Veterans Stadium on a rather warm day for November in Philadelphia. 61 degrees. And Sharps will stay in his end zone. Temple will have the football at their own 20-yard line. There's a look at Derek Pannella. You know what? When Frank Beamer recruited Pannella, he had to pledge his allegiance to the Mariners, which was hard for him to do because Beamer's roommate in college was Johnny Oates, the manager of the Texas Rangers. And of course, the Rangers and the Mariners are bitter rivals in the AL West. But Beamer, along with Oates and Lou Pannella, all get along very, very well. In fact, Beamer comes to a lot of whenever the Rangers and the Mariners play, every now and then you'll see Frank Beamer there. Oates was a great baseball player at Virginia Tech. And Beamer was a great safety there. 66 through 68, he played for Jerry Claiborne. What are you laughing at, Toretta?
I was just going to say, is that in your trivia book, your first edition?
Oh, come on. I do some work for the Mariners, so I know Lou a little bit.
You are the king of trivia.
And I see Johnny Oates, and the last time I saw Oates and Lou together, Beamer was there.
You are the king of trivia is all I know.
Dead ball, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. We played it down.
For the Hokies, Michael Vick, his day is done. Second down and a bunch. DeVito going deep for Johnson, makes the catch to the 45. Larry Austin on the coverage.
What a nice throw by DeVito. Just a little pump fake. They fake that little receiver screen that they've been throwing all game and send one of the wide receivers on a deep route, Johnson, and DeVito throws it right over his shoulder. That's a perfect throw.
Bernardo Sharps is hauled down by Nick Sorensen. We go to the studios, Reese Davis. Even Reese Davis is getting punchy. It's late in the season. And late in this one. DeVito in trouble, throwing, and it's incomplete. But Reese is right in a BCS kind of way. Strength of schedule and your opponent's schedule. And your opponent's schedule.
But that's something that Virginia Tech can't control. All they can do, like I said, is control how they play on every given Saturday in their own game. They can't worry about what their previous opponents or what their future opponents are doing.
You know, it used to be in the old system, fans and announcers and coaches used to argue a lot about who was number one and who deserved to go
Dead
here.
ball, false start, offense.
And who deserved to go
5-yard
there.
penalty.
The BCS, you still have those arguments. There's just more stuff to talk about, like the strength of schedule of opponents and opponents' opponents. Virginia Tech's key games today: James Madison, UAB, Clemson, Virginia, and Boston College.
Virginia Tech's key game is right here against Temple. They could care less what those other four. I know it matters to the BCS, but they shouldn't. They're not concerned with that.
DeVito. It's caught by Joe Camus. Gino, I concur with that. But what we were sent by the ESPN research department, and Brad Edwards is one of the best in the country at this. It was not necessarily a release, more a legal brief detailing this weekend's games and the strength of the opponents for Virginia Tech. And it, on the surface,
And I
Florida
agree with
State,
that sign right there. If they go undefeated and they're not in the Sugar Bowl, that'll be a tragedy to college football.
Here's DeVito. He's in a world of hurt. Down he goes. He lost the football. It's still loose. And Temple gets it, the 41-yard line.
I know when the BCS was created, they didn't want any split titles where one team was number one and the other poll, the other team was number one.
You know what, though? That might happen this year. I'll explain when we get back. 55-7. Virginia Tech on top of Temple. Rich Waltz, Gino Torretta back in Philadelphia. All right, Gino, here's the scenario. In the BCS standings, Nebraska is coming up strong in third place. If Nebraska wins out, their two games against Colorado, or rather Texas, and Texas and Colorado. Texas would be in the championship game of the Big 12. And say Florida State wins today. Those two teams have a shot, and a likely shot, of Nebraska overtaking Virginia Tech and being in the Sugar Bowl, right? That would send Virginia Tech to the Orange Bowl. Now, if Nebraska beats Florida State in the Sugar Bowl, Nebraska would win then the BCS title. But say Virginia Tech wins the Orange Bowl, they're undefeated. They could still be named national champions by the AP poll, because the coaches poll is the one that awards the BCS champion.
I'm still saying it'll be a shame if Florida State goes undefeated, Virginia Tech goes undefeated. They're not playing in the Sugar Bowl against each other.
And I agree with you. I'm contractually obligated to point that out. Virginia Tech with a football, and it's Lee Suggs around the right side. Now, as I was trying to say so poorly, the games for Nebraska that count today in their strength of schedule, they've got Iowa, California, Southern Miss, and Oklahoma State on their schedule.
They play all 4 of those teams today?
Yeah. It would be in the Big Red's best interest if those teams did well today. Okay. Frank Beamer. 55-7, his team on top. You can do that when it's 61 degrees in Philly. Actually, they do it here when it's 15 degrees as well. But Suggs, again, we go to the studios, Reese Davis.
Guys, you really have a handle on that BCS thing. I am impressed. Purdue and Indiana, Vinny Sutherland back to receive the punt, and you know that Vinny's got some serious jets. 66 yards, he takes it back. Second punt return for a touchdown this year, and Purdue on top of the bucket. 30-24 early in the 4th.
Last time we saw Vinny, Reese, was, what, a 99-yard catch from Drew Brees? That won the ballgame for him against Northwestern. Meyer dumps it off to Suggs. And he's to the 47-yard line. Well, having to win by a big margin and all this BCS talk sometimes puts a coach in an uncomfortable position, like Frank Beamer.
I think college football has gone the wrong way when you're saying, well, you got to beat a team by so much. I mean, the deal is to win if you can, and to show sportsmanship. You know, we go through all these things to get our players not to taunt the other team. Well, I think if somebody's deliberately running up the score on someone, you're taunting the other team in a different direction. So, to me, it's got out of whack a little bit right there now. When you start saying you need to do this by so many points and then try to embarrass another program, that's not our style.
Terrell Parham was the intended receiver. Pass interference on Temple's Edric Harley on the coverage, and so it'll be a 15-yard penalty for Frank Beamer. Gino, your thoughts on that?
I agree with Coach. I think all you can be concerned with is winning if you can, win your own game. I mean, you have to show you're going to be dominant. You can show your dominant football team by winning by 21 points. They're going to win by a lot more than that today, and because of special teams, score a couple defensive scores. So I think Coach Beamer is exactly right.
How about Don McPherson? Donnie, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree with Gino. I think you have to continue to play your game. And talking to Coach Beamer at halftime, he wants his team to do the little things right. And if the little things result in touchdowns, you can't fault the players for that.
Run, 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 run! From a player's point of view, and you two guys are removed from the college game at a time where I can still get a player's perspective from both of you. Just the whole BCS situation. Gino, you first.
Well, I just don't like how other teams' schedules factor into how high Virginia Tech is ranked. They should be ranked by how good they are as a team. That's my opinion.
And I think that, when you have so many teams playing college football, these kids need to be rewarded for playing well. And I don't agree with computers and checking out other people's strength of schedule. You never know when a team's going to have a good year or a bad year, and you have injuries that alter what a team can do late in the season. I just think there are too many factors that take away from what these young men do on the field.
All right, the opposite end of the spectrum, and Don, I'll start with you, is a playoff. An 8 that's been suggested, a 4 or an 8-team playoff, something similar to 1AA or Division II. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that's what the bowl series was supposed to do initially with the bowl games, keeping the bowl games intact and using them in some sort of playoff or championship series, but that's just not going to happen. There's too much money at stake in the bowl games, and this season is already way too long. We have to remember that these young men are student athletes, and once you start talking about series and playoffs, you're really taking them out of the classroom.
There's a great catch by a student athlete. Bob Slokowski down at the 3-yard line. 25 yards from Dave Meyer to Slokowski. A nice sliding catch by the sophomore out of Pittsburgh.
Rich, and I agree with Don that they'd have to start playing in 2 weeks in the playoffs if they did show it. Here you see Meyer just on a bootleg. Throws a strike down the field. What a nice diving catch.
First and goal from the 2. And Suggs is hit right on the line. I don't think he got in. He didn't. Raheem Brock. Oh, he did. Raheem Brock thought he made a big stop, but somehow Suggs spun his way into the end zone. So it's a touchdown for Virginia Tech.
Rich, but going back to a playoff system, these teams would have to essentially begin play the week after the season. That would be the first week of December. They would start playoff games. Then what does that do? The player isn't going to get a college break. He's going to essentially start practice the first week of August, and he's going to go through. He's going to miss Thanksgiving with his family. He's going to miss Christmas. And just like Don said, their students, they're going to be going into the second semester, still playing football games.
We'll continue our roundtable discussion. The BCS right now, it's pretty good for Virginia Tech. 62-7. 62-7. Virginia Tech on top of Temple. Today at 3:30, coming up quickly on ABC Sports. Number 13 Penn State, number 14 Michigan State, UCLA and USC. The Bruins looking for their 9th straight win. Check your local listings for the games in your area. Make sure you can see them by ordering ESPN Game Plan on pay-per-view. ABC Sports, the home of the Bowl Championship Series. Section 381, all clear. And Virginia Tech has a timeout on the field right now. I think Don McPherson called it. Donnie has 2 left. Let's go to the studios. Reese Davis. Thanks, Reese. Michael Vick and the rest of the Hokies have impressed today. It'll come out to the 20-yard line. Gino, your argument against the playoff, and Don made it as well, would be at 1AA in Division II and Division III, in fact at the NAIA level for that matter, they do have a national playoff. Things go quite well. In fact, Division II academics don't seem to be affected much by that playoff.
Well, I think McPherson, though, at his last comment was the money in the bowl games involved in the NC2A Division I. That is the determining factor. You have bowl games that are paying schools between $6 and $10 million per bowl game. What do you do all of a sudden? Do you just disband all the bowl games? And then the school, they go to a playoff. Let's say they don't get to the championship game for that huge payout, but they would have gone to a bowl game. I think that's the big factor, is the money involved.
Having just witnessed the renegotiation of the NCAA basketball tournament, don't you think, though, that a football tournament or playoff, whether it's small or big, would bring in a tremendous amount of revenue and offset the losses of the bowl games, and you could still involve the bowl sites? But
it's, Rich, basketball is different than football. Basketball, you can get prepared in a couple days for a game. In football, it takes you weeks to get prepared. You have offense, defense, and special teams, so you can't have just one tournament site like everybody come to Philadelphia and we're going to play 12 games in the vet.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting you keep the bowl sites, so you have the 4 quarterfinal games at the Sugar, the Orange, the Fiesta, and the Rose, and you pick a site for the national championship.
But that's not how Division I AA does it. They go to the highest ranked team. That's the home game. So if Division I's going to do it like Division I AA, then do it like that, where the home field is the higher ranked team. That's my argument, but as Don McPherson said, the money is too big in these bowl games to just all of a sudden throw them out the window.
Donnie, your
Rich,
witness.
Another thing about that, Rich, when does it stop? You start saying you use the bowl games, make a playoff system. Why don't you just throw out the whole college football history and just make it whatever teams qualify. Take the top 25 teams from the last 10 years, make a new league, forget about these guys as students, just go for a national championship, go for a minor league championship in football, because that's where you're going with this.
An emphatic no from Don McPherson. And hauled down to the 36-yard line. All right, counselors, you've made good arguments. The jury will be back in a moment. To Virginia Tech, 62. Temple, 7. All of you computers out there watching this game, you must be impressed with Virginia Tech right now. Hokie football. Meyer gives to Suggs, and he's down to the 34. You've heard Don McPherson, you've heard Gino Toretta. What does Frank Beamer think about the BCS?
Our approach has been this. You know, our schedule's made. There's nothing we can do about our schedule. We can't do anything about anybody else's schedule. We can't change those computers. I think they're programmed. I mean, you know, you can't do anything about them. The only thing you can do is go out and play well, and prepare well and play well. And that's the only thing that affects any of these things that everybody wants to talk about. So we don't. I personally, we don't talk about polls in our team meetings. We don't talk about BCS. We don't. You know, we talk about the next team and let's get ready to go make a good preparation and play the best we can. And I think that's how you got to handle it.
Suggs down to the 22-yard line. Keith Staples made the stop. I think he's handled it very well.
I think he's handled it well. One thing to add, though, I'm sure this late in the season, when you are ranked one of the top 2 teams in the country, I'm sure he's not mentioning ranking, but I'm sure he's saying, team, you have an opportunity to be in the national championship game.
Those 6 consecutive bowl appearances. You know, one of the things that's impressive about Beamer, he was 2-8-1 in 1992 before they got on that roll of 6 bowl appearances. And yesterday we talked to him, and he had mentioned it was his administration that backed him up back in 92. It was his 6th year. They went 2-8-1. Most coaches would have been gone, but at Virginia Tech they held on and they believed in him. He ripped off 9-3, 8-4, 10-2, 10-2, 7-5, 9-3, and he'll go to 10-0 with this win. Grant Noel is the quarterback. And he'll pitch it. Keith Burnell down to the 10-yard line. Let's go to the studios. Reese Davis. And you can weigh in anytime you want, Reese, as well on this BCS.
All right, Rich, they're going to push me for time, though. Ohio State and Michigan tied at 17. Tom Brady finding Marquise Walker. And how many times have we seen Tom Brady bring his team back? It's 24-17 late. Belisari's only completed 2 passes in the second half. He'll have to do better than that. Harvard on top of Yale and the Ivy. Brown wins. If those scores stand up, meaning Harvard-Yale, Brown is outright champion by virtue of the fact that they won today and they beat Yale.
Yeah, but the computers really liked Yale's strength of schedule. Frank Beamer. A 62-7 lead for Virginia Tech. On this Temple staff, Blair Thomas, great running back at Penn State. Bobby Wallace has assembled a staff that has a lot of championship rings. He has a national championship ring with Penn State. Tim Stowers, his offensive line coach, won a national championship at the 1AA level with Georgia Southern. Rocky Hager, his linebacker coach, won 2 national titles at North Dakota State. Knoll, the quarterback for Virginia Tech. And Suggs inside the 10. And he's down to the 8-yard line. Keith Staples made the stop. A look at that coaching box. And 8 yards now on the ground. Greg Shockley, the quarterback, and he gives to Suggs, and Suggs is inside the 5 down to the 4-yard line. So Frank Beamer giving everybody an opportunity to play with 4.5 minutes left. Boston College remains on this Virginia Tech schedule. Third down. And 4. The Hokies can get a first down. And Suggs is very close to that. The strength of Virginia Tech in the BCS formula, the polls. They'll stay at number 2. Unless, and I haven't been able to pick your brains on this one, Florida State, Mr. Toretta.
Now we're worried about another game.
No, I want to know, who do you think's going to win?
Who do I think's going to win? I think the home team has been pretty dominant.
All right. So are you picking one or the other? Or are you just riding the fence?
I don't pick games. I just ride fences.
And on 4th down, Temple. No, did they hold him? Where will they mark it? Virginia Tech thought they got in, but Temple has held. So it will stay at 62-7 with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left in this football game. We'll be back to Philadelphia after this. 62-7, Virginia Tech on top of Temple with 3:10 left. And Frank Beamer, thank goodness it's not a normal day in Philadelphia, because that's as early with 3 minutes left. That's a pretty early ice bath, Gino. It's the earliest we've seen this year. And even Ricky Bustle got one.
They're throwing Gatorade on everybody. McPherson better watch out down there on the sidelines. They may throw some water on him.
Second down and 7. This win clinches a conference title for Frank Beamer. So I'm assuming that's what the shower was about. To the 7-yard line. You know, Temple University has some football history as well. Go back among the ages. There he is. Bill Cosby, who's been a big part of just the rejuvenation of the Temple campus. A lot of building going on. They're putting in, it's a 30,000 student school, and it's going from a commuter school to an on-campus living arrangement. And that's, Bobby Wallace has said that's been a change that will benefit his football program, he feels. DeVito, incomplete.
That will help recruiting tremendously. When you're going to a child's house, and his parents are looking, well, where's my kid going to be living? Well, he's going to be living in downtown Philadelphia when he comes to Philadelphia or goes to Temple. But now, once these dorms are built, they're going to have a place to show them where the kids are going to be staying.
A huge new basketball arena, the Apollo, right on the Temple campus, a home for John Chaney and the Owls. A new football facility, new practice facility. And Hokies still haven't gotten one. There's a flag down in the end zone, and I think they ran into the kicker, Roniel Whitaker. He went a long ways to lose about 10 yards. But it's all for naught. Roughing the kicker will bring it back. Another look back into the history of Temple football, a name that every 9- and 10-year-old knows. I played Pop Warner.
Right there with you. Played Pop Warner until high school.
He was the Temple head coach back.
And also / equipment manager.
Yes. You had to do a lot of things back then. Frank Beamer and his Hokies will go to 10-0 for the first time in school history. 6-0 in the Big East Conference. And they certainly have not hurt themselves, either in the minds of the coaches, the riders, or any of the pollsters, or the computers for that matter. Who's getting it now? DeVito's throw is caught by Camus. And Camus is out to the 16-yard line. I think any coach is subject to dunking at this point in time. Tonight on ESPN and ESPN2. On the Deuce at 6 Eastern. Number 23 Georgia, number 16 Ole Miss. The Iron Bowl at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Alabama and Auburn. Then at 9 Eastern on ESPN2. Number 24 Arkansas. Number 15 Mississippi State. ESPN, your home for Bowl Week. College football today. Reese Davis, John Makovic. We'll go over all the scores and the highlights from Rivalry Day. Preview the games to come.
And mull over the BCS.
No. On third down. DeVito. To the sidelines, and he's got Terrence Stubbs. And Stubbs is down to the 32-yard line. And that, my friends, will do it. Bud Foster, Frank Beamer, job well done. Foster, the defensive coordinator. Two very happy guys for Don McPherson and Gino Torretta. I'm Rich Waltz. It's over. Virginia Tech wins impressively. Reese Davis coming up.